Welcome back to the Coach V Show on Island Block Radio. In studio with Island Blocks Radio's Coach V Show's rising star, Marushka Raimere Hirshon. And our studio has been provided to us by the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum. Auntie, thank you for the hospitality. So let's talk about your create space. And your create space is SPIO. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that. What is that?
You know, I feel like my whole life I've seen a lack of representation of Pacific folks, especially in higher education. And you know, I felt like I was in a very privileged space. And if in these privileged spaces there aren't many Pacific peoples, I wonder what it's like for other higher education spaces. And it made me think, you know what? There are a lot of people like me and who want to give back to younger students and give resources and help them attain their dreams by going to college. And so that's what SPIO is trying to do. We're trying to create space for mentees to learn from people who've gone through the college application process and succeed in life through college.
Now you use two terms that I never use. I never use the term privileged space or privileged. And then I rarely speak about our South Pacific or API. I usually use the word API, but you use the word Pacifica. Why specifically those words?
You know, it's really hard to find a word that every single Pacific folk is inclusive.
Yeah.
So we try our best, knowing very well that some people, like in the islands, they may use a completely different word, and we may use Pacifica, it's maybe a different word. But we chose Pacifica, Pacific Islander, to talk about our Polynesian, Micronesian, and Melanesian community.
Right, because all three. So explain to our audience, what is the difference between Micronesian, Polynesian, and Melanesian when you say Pacifica?
You know, it's interesting because those are terms that were created by colonists.
That's what I'm getting at, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't even use those words, and we say Pacifica, Pacific Islanders, or even Oceania, you know? Those are words that, you know, the communities in the islands and in the diaspora are using right now to talk about our larger community.
Yep, and you've already alluded to the why, SPIO, but talk precisely about your passion for doing so, that why.
I want to see more Pacific folks in these spaces of higher ed. I want to see more Pacific representation in college, in grad school, getting PhDs, because those are opportunities that I think our community should have access to.
I love that. So talk to our audience about where you're located, where people can look you up, and what you were doing. So we talked a little about in my summary of your bio about what's coming up for SPIO. How can we as a Pacifica community help you do for us what we need to be done for all of us?
Well, we created a website called southpacificislander.org.
Okay.
And here we have our programs listed, and there are ways for people to get involved. We also have some scholarships. So if students want to apply or are looking for some extra money, Lord knows that I needed more scholarships. I wish there were more scholarships when I was a student. So we're starting to build that up. But people can really get involved. We have a volunteer opportunity list, so you could sign up. And of course, if you have specific knowledge, want to advise us, you can actually email me directly. We have an advisory board, an international advisory board right now. All volunteers who are usually having a lot of experience in finance, nonprofit world, and who are working directly with our board to help develop SPIO.
Okay, talk to us about your team. Because to me, when I'm always analyzing, I'm always overanalyzing and observing other organizations that I'm going to roll with, right? I look at who are on their team, who support them. Tell our audience about, because you're being a co-founder, who's the other co-founder, right? Who has been integral in terms of building this and creating this SPIO space, and then who is on your board so that we can get a feel for what this is about.
Absolutely. You know, I had to start with people I trusted. Like you mentioned, you know, you want to surround yourself with people who inspire you and you know who can do great work. So I have 3 other co-founders. I could not have done this without them. You know, it really is all about teamwork. We all graduated from Stanford, and we all have different indigenous backgrounds. So, you know, I have Tahitian-American and then some Cook Islander. One of my co-founders is Micronesian and Native American. Another one is an ally, indigenous as well, Native American. And then the other is Kanaka Maoli, Native Hawaiian. And through our networks, we're slowly expanding our board to include people from other Pacifica communities. Of course, our board can only be about 9 people. So the way we're getting more inclusive is through our advisory council. And that's where we're hoping to get people from the islands, you know, from all the different islands to help create a truly inclusive space.
Yep, and tell us their names.
So we have Michaelan Konichi, Katie Ching, and Eldred Lasansi. Those are the main 4 co-founders.
Okay, can you promise me that all 4 of you will be here on the next time we bring you in 2020?
Oh, of course. We'll make that happen.
All right, we'd love to have you.
Already done deal.
And so, ladies, exceptional work. I look forward to meeting you in person. I have had some on point and just upfront conversation about how we are willing to help the Invictus Youth Foundation, my foundation, the Coach V Show, and Island Block Radio. We're going to do everything that we can. And so, but now you started in San Jose.
Right.
Okay, because I saw that on your website. But now you're down here. Where is the physical location going to be? Where's the main hub of operations?
So right now we are in a transition period. All of our programs are online. And I think that's what's really special about this program. We want to leverage our volunteer community to be from all around the world. And we also want to provide our mentorship, our scholarships to Pacifica students from all around the world. But our goal is to have our means of operations in the Los Angeles area.
Like it. I like it. So what city do you and your husband reside?
We just moved from San Jose to Santa Monica.
Oh, uptown folks. I like that. So Pacifica, you too can get up there too. College graduate, Stanford, Santa Monica. No, that's awesome. And I'm just joking around. But really, we look forward to what it is that you're going to be doing here. Now, we still got another segment to go. But answer me this, because in the nonprofit realm, as I work with at-risk youth, ages 5 to 13, and one of the things that happened to us right away is we redefined what at-risk youth is to not just being a person that was like me, grew up on free lunch, free and reduced lunch, high crime area, murder area, and a place where the financial earnings of a particular family was very low. To any kid with free time is an at-risk kid. So those were some of the changes that we're going through. But this is also something I find, and here's a Coach V quote. The hardest thing about nonprofit work is helping a population that might not be grateful or thank you for the passion that you put into them. That is the one thing that I'm always trying to be cognizant of and aware of, is that in my programs, we give away free stuff to kids and free services, but they didn't have to earn it.
I see.
So do they really understand the value of that? When I say that, what comes to mind for you?
A few things, but the main thing is I understand the feeling of, oh, do the people who are receiving the programs understand the value of it? And that can be kind of hard sometimes. You think, oh, is this worth it? You know, is all this work that I'm putting in worth it? And I need to remind myself that yes, 100% yes, because when I talk to mentors who want to mentor younger students, they all say, you know what, I'm so grateful for those free programs that I did.
That's right.
I recognize later, I didn't recognize back then, but now I do, and I want to give back and make sure that younger students utilize those free resources. So whenever I have like a tingle in the back of my mind that says, is this worth it? Like, is all this time worth it? It is, 100% always.
Yep. And then really, because you're doing this partly because it's your passion and purpose to serve others, but you're doing this because this is what you do. Like, this is what we do. We serve.
Absolutely.
Right? So here's another Coach V quote, and I love your thoughts on it. What we do for ourselves brings progress. What we do for others brings fulfillment. Doing both earns success. When I say that, what do you think about?
I love that. I feel like I'm trying to live that way, you know, just recognizing that when you dedicate your life to others beyond yourself, you're in many ways like treating your soul. You know, you're giving back to your community. That's what I feel like I'm doing every day. Every day I wake up and it doesn't feel like work. I'm like, ooh, I'm doing something that feels good. I'm helping people out, and it just improves my health and wellness and my well-being too.
Yep. So what's in the background? Like for me, when I'm in front of the kids, real talk, man, it does not feel like work. Putting on camps, speaking to the kids, helping a kid how to freaking figure out how to dribble with their left hand in basketball, or dribble with their left foot when they're right hand dominant or right foot dominant, right? I love that. But there's background stuff that people don't see. They don't see me going to the shed with all this equipment all by myself, right? Putting away all this equipment, or sitting up and then making, because people want to hear from the main person when it comes to donating thousands of dollars. They don't want to hear from an associate, right? And so that's the behind the scenes work that is still work in my mind. I get what you're saying. I still love it. But what is the behind the scenes struggle for you and your staff as you guys are building, growing, and trying to move forward to the future?
Oof, where to begin?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a lot of learning on the fly. You know, we're grassroots. We don't have money to ask a consultant to give us a manual on how to do X, Y, and Z.
Figure it out.
So I think having that humility of being able to ask people for help, you know, asking the people you trust, and always staying positive. I think that's like the biggest lesson we've learned. Knowing that if our values are aligned, if you're with a great team and you know you are trying to create something beautiful for your community, I mean, what more can you ask for?
I think that is a great and a valid point, what our expert is speaking about. There's an old book that says this: ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. So for those people that are sitting around with concepts, it is action. Success and love, right, are nouns that work better as verbs, but without action, success and love are just words. So if you're not out there actively seeking, putting in that work, nothing happens, right?
Right.
And if you don't ask, and in the position we are where we need help, could you help us either with financial ways, with your expertise, or connecting me with some folks that can either volunteer their time, right, or their expertise or their finances to what the greater mission is.
Exactly.
But if you don't ask, right, talk about that, and then we'll close off on that. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. Right.
That is one of the biggest life lessons I've learned. You know, if you don't ask, like, you don't know what kind of opportunities exist. I think this has happened time and time again. In the beginning, before SPIO even existed, I spent the first month or two reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Cold turkey, no connections. I was like, should I even be doing this? You know, most people are probably gonna say no. But I got connections to people I never thought I would get connected to. I mean, look at us today.
Or through Kaleni Suliafu, my man. Shout out to my boy Kaleni with Ashura. What's up, baby? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, you just never know what kind of connection you're gonna make with someone. And take that leap. Don't be afraid. Don't be insecure about it. Don't worry about what people will say. You'll find that actually people want to help out.
That's right.
If you reach out to them, they might open the world to you. They might open up to so many more opportunities than you ever could have imagined.
That's right. That's right. Keep it locked. We'll be back right after this brief music jam break brought to you by The Island Block Radio. You're listening to the Coach V Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise on Island Block Radio, the pulse of the Pacific, where paradise lives.